Um, I want to talk about ways to ascend. And I'm trying to quantify people that have ascended I know in real life and maybe on the internet. Um, and I'm trying to classify, put them in categories to organize the kind of skill sets you need to ascend. Um, and I think there's a level to it. There's a level to each of the ways to ascend, a social level of each of the ways to ascend, and how it's a bit dismal in some ways, but in some ways you can make it work to you. Um, yeah, just straight non emotional, just commentary. So the four ways I've seen that men eventually ascend. Let's just say eventually ascend. Number one, I'm just saying that. I'm not putting a rank on them. Just online. Second, um, co-ed conversation. Um, for this, for the most part, girls aren't trying to converse with you um, one on one. Now, there are some occasions, like if you have a part time job where you can converse with a girl one on one, but which actually is one of the ways, but it's much more rare than just co-ed conversation because co-ed conversation is much more plentiful when it comes to a workplace, which I know, get it, workplace is hard, but college and high school, let's admit it, college and high school, a lot of that was co-ed conversation. When you get older and you make a friend of a friend and they invite you maybe to some hangout, a lot of it ends up becoming co-ed conversation. So you have to be good at co-ed conversation. Now there are two kinds of co-ed conversations. There's daytime co-ed conversation, and then there's nighttime co-ed conversation. I've seen some guys ascend with daytime co-ed conversation, even though they fail at nighttime co-ed conversation because of all the loud and you have to be very captivating and you have to appeal to shorter attention spans and a lot of guys aren't built for that. But they are still decent in daytime co-ed conversation. So anyways, those are two more ways. That's actually one way, co-ed conversation, and that can be split up. Okay, and third is the way I ascended was a friend of a friend, and they'll hook you up, not hook up, but they'll hook you up with a friend of an acquaintance or a friend of a friend. So you make a strong male bonds, and then hopefully one of your male bonds might know someone of someone, and then they can hook you. So friend hooking you up, you know. Now this you don't need to have great co-ed conversation group skills, which is me. I still haven't really perfected that. I'm still really bad at that. But I can make good strong male bonds with guys that I can relate to. And eventually I got lucky. You know, I in the end of the day I got lucky. Um, One of my friends social maxed, so he was in really dark times because to get out of that he had to social max. Um, and he knew someone of he was knew someone of someone that was looking that was also looking. He would know girls that were looking, and not all of them, not most of them weren't Stacy's or anything, but he knew people were looking, and so something like that. But I had the bond with him. I didn't have the bond with the girl or anything. I had the bond with him. So I was able to get. That's one way. I never really had to go through that low key like Jester maxing or in co-ed group circles and all that. Um, that's the third way, and then the fourth way is public place bar approach. This can be in the line of a bar or at a bar or at a grocery market. Yeah, name it. Those are the four ways that you can ascend. Um, Now let's rank them by the social level you need to be. Social level is your social skill set. The easiest one is online. Unfortunately, even though it's the easiest one for a socially inept guy to ascend, it's the hardest one in regards to how the picky the women are online and how the apps are built against you. They want you to stay on so they don't give you the good matches, etc., etc. So online is the lowest social level lowest social level requirement. Um, the second social level requirement would be what I did. You know, a friend of a friend hooking you up with a friend that he knows that is looking, something like that. You don't need that great social, but you need to be able to make male bonds to get that kind of connection with someone. To do that for you, you need to be able to connect with the guy and honestly trust the guy. And for me, it was a childhood friend. So if you don't have that, I can see how it can be really hard. And look, it's all at the end of the day, it's a little luck, but in a way, I did invest a lot of time hanging out with him to the point where I could trust him. Um, I'm investing. It's all investment of your time. I didn't invest that much time into group parties and circles and all those lock bar hangouts and all that. So end of the day, I didn't invest that much time. So it is kind of fair that I didn't get that great skill set honed up yet. I don't know. We'll see. But and I could have lived a different life if I did. But I was just stem cell maxing, I guess, at the time. But yeah. But anyways, I did invest the time into creating strong male bond, like one or two male bonds that eventually led to something that I can get. Um, Now, the third social level one, the next social level is the co-ed conversation. Now, the co-ed conversation, now you're introducing girls to the conversation. It's not just you bonding with another, maybe like a relatable, lonely guy. Now it's you conversing with girls and guys at the same time. Now, this is probably the most normal guy route. This is like 75% of the route of the population, how they meet is co-ed conversation. You have to be good at that. And I always didn't like when girls would enter the conversation because they were very the opposite of men. Like with men, you can just say things straight out. You can be logical. You can be blunt. But when girls come into the conversation, I can't be based. I can't be as blunt. I can't be logical. So I don't know how to act, or at least I never honed or mastered the the different self of me that can act less based, act less logical, act less blunt. I haven't honed up my acting skills on that. Much better than I am 10 years ago, of course, but um, that's a huge nutter skill set. And this is the majority of population. Co-ed conversation, I'd say daytime is the most normal route. If you can converse them in a daytime setting in group conversations with guys and girls, high school, college, group hangouts, things like that, meeting someone and their friends. Um, that's very that's the next, yeah, that's the third one. And the third, like 3B, I guess, is third co-ed conversation nighttime. Now, co-ed conversation nighttime is actually very good too. Not all guys. I think the majority of normal men are good at daytime. I think only like one third of that group is good at nighttime, or maybe one quarter. Nighttime, you have to be more reactive. You have to be more like a instead of um, instead of a I don't know, a football match or some slow game like golf. You have to be more like ping pong. You have to be very reactive, and you have to act more on your frame, the way your body is, the way your tone is, and you have to it's really based off how you act in nighttime, and you have to be very expressive and reactive and ready and all the it's much different ball game. It's kind of like daytime, but it's another skill set on top of that. So that's even a higher level than daytime. Usually it's like 3B, higher level than daytime. And then the fourth level would be, in my opinion, public place bar approach. Now I know there are some guys, and especially like me, we are horrible at the third route where it's co-ed conversation, um, b- with clicks and all that. Click game is strong in co-ed conversation. I'll go into that again. But fourth is public place bar approach. We can perhaps fail at the co-ed conversation, but we are good isolating a girl in public and talking to her. Um, But the reason why cold approach for the most part fails if you are an incel or a lonely guy is you have to be able to master the co-ed conversation before doing the public place bar approach. Because if you master the co-ed conversation, you lose the you know how to make you know how to look less wolf like. If you're horrible, if you have no friends, if you have no co-ed friend female friends, male friend groups, and you're going to the public place bar approach, you might get lucky, but for the most part you're probably going to come out like a wolf, perhaps a creep looking for a girlfriend. Now this is fine in maybe places that are supportive of that, of countries outside the West that are supportive of a guy just looking for a girlfriend, and then girls might give props to that. But in the West, it's really important to give a non-threatening, to give a "I'm not looking for a girlfriend" kind of vibe to you, which is kind of messed up in my opinion, but that's just the way it is. So if so, it only works, that kind of approach, if you have that vibe to you. Now that vibe is something that you is an acting role that you create when you're in a co-ed social circle. If you're great at that and you have a good rotation of friends, then yes, you can do public place bar approach, because you have that skill set already to have a non-threatening approach to women, to make them feel open to you. Because I've seen guys that excel at this, and this is all they do. But a lot of times they're also very socially healthy when it comes to their friends and their friend rotation and their friend circle, and it's both genders. And then I see them act in public, and every now and then they have like a long conversation with someone they never met. Um, and most times it's not, it's other guys, but sometimes it's just a girl, and they'll just keep on moving. Maybe they'll make a connection, but they're much more better at that non-threatening approach to talk to strangers. It's more of a social thing as opposed to like a romantic, let me pick you up kind of thing. So that's why I think that's the fourth social level. I would put it after. You would have to master the other two before that. The co-ed and the male bond, and then especially you have to master the co-ed before thinking of public place bar approach, which is why I don't think most incels do well in public approaches, because they probably give that hunter vibe, which is which women today really hate because of gender relations and all that. Um, so that's my thoughts on the last one, and why Italian incels just cold approach, bro. Especially in today's environment with women not trusting men and all that, it can be hard. You would have to master the other one first, the co-ed conversation, um, vibing with women in a social, friendly way, non-threatening way, um, especially in group conversations. So yeah, and then, but look, if you can see yourself never making the public approach, you have to go at least to the co-ed approach, and if you get lucky, the guy friend hooking you up with someone he knows approach. Now this works well in church circles because everyone's eventually is trying to look for someone. So that's the second approach, and then the first one is online, where the social level is at the lowest. Um, so if you are extremely autistic and you can't make any kind of bond to male, woman, or even men, then you are stuck to online, and you're gonna have to be a PhD when it comes to how online profiles and pictures work, and maybe a surgery or two for your face and your height, and geomaxing paying for it. Yeah, you would just be limited to that. So yeah, those are the four tiers I see in how males ascend, and the different social rankings you need, social skill sets and rankings you need to be able to master each one. So just to recap, um, online, then it's male friend hooking you up. Uh, yeah, male friend hooking you up. There has to be some sort of circle though for that, whether it's a church circle or a leadership circle, or a some kind of circle that's some kind of establishment built for you to get these kinds of relationships. So yeah, male friend hooking you up. Third level, co-ed day, co-ed conversation daytime, then third co-ed conversation nighttime, then fourth level, just being able to casually talk to people in public when those scenarios come, and make connections that way, networking. Um, which, in my opinion, for any guy that can do this naturally, just from my observation, it's mostly guys you're talking to, because you're just more relatable with most guys. But every now and then it can be a girl, and you can talk to a girl in a casual conversational way. So if you are doing the fourth one, don't be surprised if it's mostly guys, because that's just how life is. But every now and then there can be a girl that you're talking to in a casual conversation manner, and um, it'll be like 1/4 or less of the connections network points you make. So yeah, my video.